there's where I'm at. Paint's all dry, but sanding on the roof there a little bit. Finished off the deck lid, so I just put some rust paint on it, because I'm not sure I'm going to do with it just yet. I did a little bit of body work on it, still some more to go, but at least it won't get any worse like that. It actually kind of looks kind of cool, all black. This is where I spent a bunch of time. So I got basically the driver's side half down to bare metal. I was just going to leave with that rust paint, but if you start seeing all these little spots just everywhere, so I really got to make sure I sand it all down good. This thing must have been down right to bare metal, and then just black primer put right on it, and then it sat outside for 10 years or whatever it was. Because you can see all these little kind of, I don't know if it shows up on camera or not, little scuff marks where it's kind of been sanded and all sorts of stuff, and really deep sanding scratches that still have the paint in it. So it'll be a fair bit of screwing around to get it all dealt with, but I mean, whatever. Keep going. It's one evening of that, so if I do the other side, get it down like that, that'll probably be another night of getting right all in the nooks and crannies and getting right down all these little divots and crap like that, and then decide what I want to do with it. But that's where I'm at right now. So it's getting there. Looking cooler every day. That's it for now. Here's where I'm at. So the roof is all sanded down to bare metal for the most part. So like I was saying, it was just kind of primered right over. It looked like somebody at some point had taken this thing right down to bare metal, and then it sat outside and water under it. So there's lots of, you can see like all these little pits and stuff like that. So I did on this right here, there's a strip of it. So I just took flap wheel and got most of it out. There's still a few little kind of divots, and I don't know how much I'm going to go on it. You got to be real slow so you don't heat it up and have it heave the panel. So I'm going to go over all the kind of spots a little bit, you know, wherever I can type thing. Then I'll coat the whole thing with that rust converter, and then I'll just kind of skim coat the parts where I've ground down with some filler, block it all out, and then it'll be pretty good. The roof's actually in really good shape. There's a spot right here, it had some filler in it, and then right at the very back, I don't know if it'll show up on the camera or not here, but right here there's a bit of a whammo there, so I don't know if I maybe get in there and knock it with a hammer a little bit. But there wasn't actually much filler in this roof whatsoever, so it turned out pretty good. Pile of sanding, pile of just time. It was just boring, hours and hours and hours, but it came out okay. So there's no big dents in it, no nothing like that. A few really big sanding scratches, unfortunately, from when it was done originally, but not too terrible. I actually kind of dig the way it looks with a metal roof, so we'll see what happens. I'll grind it all down once I'll sand it again, see what it looks like. But I did it on my Nova, so I don't want to do it to every car, but it looks different, all right. So that's what I'll do. I'll keep grinding away, then I'll coat it with that rust converter stuff, probably let it sit overnight, and then get back out tomorrow or the next day or something like that and start pouring filler on and blocking it all out. Alright, so here's the roof. It goes on kind of like a cool purple, and then the rust spots that it whatever activates or does whatever the hell it does turns like a really dark black type thing. So that's what I'll do. Let this go. It takes a long time to dry. It seems like a few hours type thing, but I'll like I said, I'm gonna let it go overnight, and then yeah, be back out tomorrow and kind of just give it a quick scuff, block it all out or whatever, and then start laying down some filler. Alright guys, here's the rat. It's been a couple days. Been a little bit lazy. But the roof's dead dry there. So as you can see, the kind of where the rust was, it went really real dark black almost, and where it's just kind of bare metal, it kind of like what a bit of a light purple. So I'm going to go over the whole car, or just the roof I should say, with some 120 or something like that. Kind of get a little bit of a bite to it. Then I'll probably skim coat a large part of the roof, and I'll sand it all down, so it should just have a little bit of filler kind of where the dents and all that is, and that's about it. So it shouldn't have too much filler on the whole thing, even though I'm going to kind of skim coat the whole thing and then block sand it all off. Hopefully I'll get that done today, and maybe tomorrow run down to the store, get some primer and prime the top off. So yeah, it's going out pretty good. Alright, so I load the top up with filler there. Plan on sanding a large part of this off, but is what it is. At least now it'll be nice and flat and smooth and all that. The sides are actually pretty good, so I didn't do a whole lot there. Once I get that all kind of blocked out in the top, I'll see if I got to maybe put a little skim coat of just some glaze or something like that around the sides. And then before I do the front, I'll have to pull the windshield. This one's got a crack in it, and I got the windshield. This one's got a crack in it, and I got another one anyways, but whatever. I'll do that down the road type thing. It's just this last little lip, and ultimately it doesn't look like it's that bad anyways. Just needs to be kind of scuffed up and everything. So I'm sure I'll do that, paint it, and then put it all back together. But yeah, that's how it's going. So let this set up for a few minutes, and then I'll be hitting it hard with the longboard. Alright guys, so I'm let's grab the stool here. So I'm halfway done. So I've got this side roughed out into 80 grit, and I haven't started on that side at all. But just so you can kind of see, I still have lots of sanding left, but there's not going to be a whole lot of filler left. Once I go down to like 120 or something before I primer it. Just a few spots. It'll show up in the camera here, but here and here's a couple of low spots. I got to put a little filler in there. Otherwise, it's looking pretty good. And then just right at the front here, you can see where it's kind of metal there, and then there it's got a bit of a hump right there. So I just got to put a little bit of filler in there. And otherwise, it turned out great. So I'll keep going on this and stuff like that, but really I'm basically ready for just a little bit of glaze on this side, and then do the whole thing in, you know, 120, 150, something like that. Be good enough. And then I still got this other side to do, unfortunately, but it comes off pretty good. The middle is pretty decent. It was flat as it was, so unfortunately the filler's a little bit thick there, so I just got to get it all off. But yeah, it'll look pretty sweet when it's all done. Good enough for primer anyways. There you go guys, hours and hours of sanding later. Both sides are roughed in. This side needed a little bit more filler in the front, but it turned out pretty decent. And then across the back here, I actually just put this on. That's a little bit of glaze there because it had a couple little whoop-de-doos there, so I'll let that harden up. And I'll get to that a little bit later on tonight. But yeah, that's that. Once I kind of do that, there's a few little streaks here and there and some kind of deep sanding scratches, so hopefully I'll come out with some finer sandpaper. And yeah, I'll be able to high build primer all over it. But overall, it's good. Not a whole lot of filler in it. Nice and flat. It's round and all that where it should be. Nothing was too bad. So it's pretty much ready to go. Like I said, just a little bit more sanding, and it'll be pretty much done. I don't know if you guys see how dusty it is. I blew the car off, but there it is. It's done. Well, I'm done with it anyways. So that's how it turned out. A little bit of filler here. Had a bit of a dent in it. Otherwise, it's not too bad. I'm gonna pick some primer up tomorrow. Give this thing a quick shot coat, and it'll be pretty much done. And then all Decla is all I got left. You can't tell now 'cause it's all flat black, but right here it's got a bunch of little dents and dings and stuff like that. So a little bit of filler there, scuff it up, shoot up primer, and it's all done. I can blow the thing all off and carry on some more mechanical now. It's all one color and worry about it down the road. Alright, picked up some primer. I just gave it a quick mask job. I'm not super concerned about overspray anything. I got a new windshield and all that for it. I'll probably take a scoop off so I don't get it all covered in shit. Otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna lay a few coats down and see what turns out. Alright, there we go. Primered. Clean the windshield up while I was at it there, but that's that. That's pretty much all done. Well, done enough. That door's still hammered and all that stuff, but all the kind of rough body work's done. It's all in one color. Except I'm not too sure what I'm going to do in the deck lid here. If I'm going to start working on that next, probably. And there's actually one little crack at the bottom of the quarter panel I noticed I gotta deal with, a little hole. So I'll get on that. Otherwise, I'm gonna start ordering front end parts, I think. Get kind of going on that, start cleaning up the interior. Just nice to get all the bodywork kind of done, that I can clean everything up. I'm not dealing with such a headache worth of crap anymore. I ended up picking up a different set of wheels, so that's the factory wheel. I ended up finding a set of these Daisy 200s, like the actual 2-lane blacktop car, but they're 14s. So I tried to put a big tire on it, as big as I could kind of fit on it. I guess we'll see. It looks a little bit goofy on it right now on this side, but once the motor's in, I'm hoping it'll kind of bring it down. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to run just yet. Those fender well headers, I heard you got to be a little careful on tire size on the back side, because I guess under suspension and turning and all that, it might actually rub the pipe. So we'll see how that goes. My rear springs, the leaves are supposed to be in I guess end of this week or early next week, so hopefully that'll be a thing. So I'll probably jack it up, take that out, clean that all up, and put those back together with all new bushings and everything. Yeah, slowly but surely making progress. Alright guys, figure out where I'm at. So obviously I left it, the roof was painted, the car is all done, primed I should say. I've been actually kind of sweeping up, cleaning up the garage. It's kind of gotten out of hand in here. I'm working on the deck lid, so I few little dents and dings on the bottom, so I kind of hammered those out. Then I put some filler across the bottom, just so it fits the tail pan somewhat nice. The little curve here, I did that. It had some damage on it. I pulled the little bow tie off. There's a few little wobbles on it, actually some sanding scratches, I guess, when it was sanded before, or painted before, or whatever it was. Because the emblem was there was no point in going crazy, so I just laid that down. So I put a little bit of glaze to get those sanding scratches. I'm gonna let that harden up. Sand it all down. I've got the rest of the decklet basically scuffed up, ready for another coat of paint there. So yeah, I should be able to get that done, and that's pretty much the last of the painting and bodywork I want to do for a little bit. I ordered all the front end parts and all that, so hopefully those will be here shortly. So we'll see what happens the next couple days. I'll probably pull the clip off and get to it, start taking it all apart, clean the frame, clean the firewall, all that sort of stuff, get all the ugly stuff out of the way. I also, because I'm still waiting on the rear suspension, so I might do that first. We'll see whatever shows up first parts wise, the mail, but that's where I'm at. Alright, so I got the garage somewhat cleaned up, car's all back together. I don't know if I showed you the deck lid in the last video there, but it's all dry and kind of back together and done enough. Bunch of garbage here. It's going to go in the back of the truck, and my plan is my old man's going to come over. We're going to rip the clip off, hopefully stand it up over here, and then jack the thing up, start taking the front end apart, and I mean, I guess I'll jack the back up too and take it all apart, wait for the springs. So that's what I'm going to be doing next, and once it's all apart, you know, get the front end, like all suspension off, wire wheel the frame, do the firewall, get it all cleaned up, see what I got to do. I got some you know, KBS or kind of like a POR 15 stuff. Gonna put that on the frame, make it look all nice, and yeah, hopefully by next week all the parts will be in. By the time I'm done that, new bushings, ball joints, all that, put it back together, and yeah, then I can start fitting the clip properly and making it tilt and all those sort of things. But that's what I'll do next.